Welcome back. We are going to get you the very latest update and information about that bomb explosion that has taken place in Bangladesh. One attacker and one policeman have been killed. 12 people have been injured in this explosion that took place just near the entrance of Bangladesh's largest Eid congregation. It's reported to have taken place at a place called Kishoreganj district, which is about 80 kilometers from Dhaka. Now, initial reports are suggesting that it was a Molotov cocktail bomb that was hurled at the crowd. Attackers are believed to be hiding inside a house, which the police have already surrounded. But we'll get in more details from a journalist who's joining us from Bangladesh, Mr. Shabir Bhaumik. Mr. Bhaumik, thanks so much for speaking to us on India Today. Very unfortunate bit of news coming in. Terror striking once again Bangladesh. Can you just give us the very latest updates that you have?
Yes, this attack took place at the Sholakia grounds at Kishoreganj, which is where the biggest Eid congregation in Bangladesh takes place every year. And there were about 3 or 4 attackers. They came and they threw Molotov cocktails and handmade bombs. So this is not ISIS, okay? I've been arguing since very long, even during the Dhaka attack, that this this is typical Jamaat-e-Islami or Jamaat-ul-Mujahideen, local homegrown militants. Now they threw bombs and Molotov cocktails at the police post, which was guarding, this whole area near the Azimuddin school. There's a big gate from Azimuddin school which leads to this ground, and it's near this gate that the police detached.
All right, Mr. Bhaumik, can you hear me? Okay, we seem to have lost the connection there, but we'll get back to Mr. Shabir Bhaumik. But we have with us India Today's Smita Sharma, who also joins us. In fact, Smita even covered the Dhaka hostage siege, the Gulshan attack. Smita, now I was just speaking to a journalist from Bangladesh, Mr. Bhaumik, who said that it was a very large Eid congregation, but still no information about the other attackers. But he clearly said that indications, are that the Jamaat-ul-Mujahideen Bangladesh could be behind this explosion.
He's right when he says that, because if indeed these are Molotov cocktails, now that has been a signature pattern of Jamaat, in fact Islamists, over the last few months and years, where Molotov cocktails have been hurled. In fact, in 2011, if I'm not mistaken, there were actually a series of 500 grenade blasts across the country, and at that point in time, ISIS actually wasn't in existence. This was pinned down to local outfits, so they did have the capacity at that point in time of trying to wreak havoc. It's just that now with the ISIS mask, they are turning to more gory sort of expressions. But, the good thing here is because this congregation numbers close to 3 lakhs. So if in a congregation of 3 lakhs, we're talking about 2 people dead at the moment, of which one is confirmed as a policeman. The other's identity is yet to be confirmed, and around 9 people injured. It means that it has been stopped at a initial stage itself. Otherwise, the casualties would have been much, much more higher if this was a bomb of a very high capacity.
Right.
That definitely does seem to be one of those local crude Molotov cocktail bombs which caused less
Just stay with me, Smita. We also have with us Ms. Meena Sikri, the former High Commissioner to Bangladesh. Ma'am, thank you so much for joining us. We're getting in reports that the explosion, of course, has, rocked the Bangladesh once again. A very unfortunate and tragic bit of news coming in, coming just after that horrific hostage siege that the country witnessed.
Yes, actually this is a really shocking news. It obviously shows that while, as you said, it's just a crude bomb and the damage has been limited and the police has taken very timely action, but obviously it shows that there's a plan behind this. Now, clearly the action is being taken in Bangladesh through the local groups, but the thing to be looked at, the thing to be studied and to be, corrected or denied is, are there any international linkages with these events? Is there somebody from outside motivating these young people inside, or is it just the local groups? Because as we know, that even the local groups in Bangladesh, they do have linkages. If it is Jamaat-ul-Mujahideen Bangladesh, or if it is the Jamaat-ul-Islami party and their group doing it, then they have linkages. They have linkages the western border of India. They have linkages with other groups. But is it these linkages which are making these terrorists so bold as to do an attack on the holy day of Eid? when everybody is celebrating this wonderful festival, everybody is rejoicing with their families on Eid al-Fitr, and you have this horrific bomb blast attempts again to frighten the population.
Absolutely.
Attempts again to show that, that this is, we can act at will. So there is a need, I think, for the people of Bangladesh, the government of Bangladesh, to look at this very seriously and to come together with India, with other like-minded countries to find out, go to the roots of the problem.
And ma'am, do you think that has not happened so far? Because Sheikh Hasina, has vowed to root out terror post the incident that took place at Gulshan. Now, what do you make of the events that have been unfolding? The attack that, follows a series of killings that has targeted religious minorities, foreigners, secularists, liberal activists, and now, the kind of terror that we are seeing being unleashed in Dhaka and the around adjoining areas?
Yeah, you see, I think that it is true that Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has taken strong action. She has taken strong action against militants. In fact, she has taken action against all the Jamaat-e-Islami militants, the Jamaat-ul-Mujahideen Bangladesh militants, and in fact, some of them have come over into the Indian side of the border, and we see the state of West Bengal suffering.
Right.
So obviously, she has taken action, and this has prompted an even stronger reaction from the militants. That's one point. Secondly, as Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and her ministers are saying, these are local groups which are acting. There is no doubt about that. These are local people. But there seems to be some kind of coordination. Like for the Dhaka blast, we saw that some of the terrorists had all disappeared from their families 6 months ago, and then they were probably given training, and then they came back with this determination to create this mayhem on the during the holy month of Ramadan. Now you see, this is clearly an attempt to divide the secularists in Bangladesh from the fundamentalists. This is a clearly planned strategy to do this. And they are trying at every stage to say that we can hit out, we can take what they are trying to weaken the resolve of the government of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina to take action against terrorists. And clearly, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has to keep ahead with her determination to carry on this action against terrorists. But if people are saying, if opinion in Bangladesh is divided, that are these local groups or is there some coordination from abroad, the first thing to be done is to find out the facts as clearly as possible. During the attacks, there were, obviously some telephone calls going abroad, some images being loaded abroad. What was this connectivity? So I think by getting to the bottom of it, by seeking the help of all agencies, whether in India, whether in other parts of the world, all like-minded people have to get together to preserve the secular fabric of Bangladesh, to preserve the secular democratic forces in Bangladesh, and to preserve the secularism all over the world.
Right. Ms. Sikri, very briefly, I just wanted to ask you, do you think perhaps there could have been a security lapse here? Because, following the Gulshan attack, there should have been proper security arrangements. If you're saying that this area is the largest Eid congregation, do you think perhaps the government and the security forces need to do a lot more to thwart, these homegrown terrorists and their organizations' deadly motives?
Obviously on the day of Eid, when everybody is in a joyous mood, I can understand that even the security forces would have, been loath to, subject each and every person to checking and going through a metal detector and all that. I mean, this probably has never happened on the day of Eid anywhere in Bangladesh. So I can understand that. But yes, I do agree with you that if the situation demands it, clearly action has to be taken to show to the terrorists that the state is ready to meet them at every front on every level. That is very true. But at the same time, you can see that when the problem happened, the police was equipped to respond quickly and strongly. And as you said, as I saw the commentator saying, that because of the action by the police, and they have taken some injuries as well, because of the action they have...
Right.
And because of that action, probably a greater devastation has been prevented.
Yes.
So,
All right, Ms. Veena Sikri, thank you so much for your time. We have with us the Information Minister of Bangladesh, Mr. Hassanullah, joining us now on the phone line. Sir, thank you so much for speaking to us. A very unfortunate and tragic bit of news coming in. Can you please give us the updates about that explosion? Do we know how many people have, been injured or have lost their lives?
This is a sudden attack by the terrorists at a police patrol team which was guarding the entrance of the Sholakia Eid congregation. And it is the largest Eid congregation in the country. Around 300,000 more people participate in this Eid congregation.
this is a very sad attack, but the
Yes.
terrorists clearly give a message that they are against the religious normal practices of the Muslims. So they are anti-Islam and anti-Quran and anti-Hadith. And secondly, the terrorists attacking the Eid congregation entrance clearly gives a message that they are out to destabilize the situation. Actually, the terrorists are has a political agenda, and that political agenda is against the normal religious practices of the country,
Yes.
and against the Bangladesh secular government of Sheikh Hasina.
Yes.
So
yes.
we think that this is an attack to destabilize the situation, and it is linked with politics, and they are out to destabilize the country and trying to embarrass the secular and democratic government headed by Sheikh Hasina in the country. So as such, now I cannot go and give more details on the casualty. After 1 hour, I can update you.
So, one last question. How do you plan now, to give a befitting reply to those who are spreading terror in your country? Because your government did launch a nationwide crackdown on local jihadist groups just last month. How do you plan to get to the root of this problem and ensure that peace prevails in your country?
Well, this is a question to be answered gradually, because we have a master plan to combat this terrorism.
Okay.
There are international angles, domestic angles, the friends cooperation, and the ideological angles. So it is a multidimensional approach is taken by the government to check terrorism.
Right. All right. Mr. Hasanullah, thank you so much for your time. Smita Sharma is there with us, and she has also been, just taking us through all the little bit information and updates that has been trickling in from Bangladesh about the explosion that has claimed the life of one policeman. Smita, you must have heard the conversations that I had with the Information Minister and Ms. Veena Sikri, and both of them, talking about the importance to come down heavily on these homegrown terrorists and, crack down on these local groups that are only there in the country with their main motive to spread mayhem and terror. Okay, so this is the bomb blast, the bomb explosion that took place in Bangladesh. This was happening just before the namaz, and what we're getting to hear is that one policeman has lost his life. He was killed. We are getting to hear, these are unconfirmed reports, we don't really have the official word right now, but the government there assessing the situation. 5 others have sustained injuries. This is when a small bomb exploded near the Eid prayer congregation in Bangladesh. It's believed to be a very big, huge ground. It's in the northern Kishoreganj district. Around 200,000 people apparently had gathered for their Eid prayers when these 2 to 3 attackers, these terrorists, hurled that crude bomb. And we're just getting to hear some information, some unconfirmed information, that the attackers have now taken refuge inside a house. We are seeing the presence of police. We're still trying to confirm as to who really, is responsible behind this explosion, and about these attackers being holed up inside the house, and we can see that presence of security in Bangladesh, in Kishoreganj, where the explosion took place. So that's the latest bit of news that we just have with us about one police constable losing his life, 5 to 10 people sustaining injuries in that explosion that took place. Police are saying that the assailants had hurled homemade bombs at a police team. So clearly the needle of suspicion is on the Jamaat-ul-Mujahideen Bangladesh. That's because it is a signature pattern of that terror group to use these homemade bombs. So terror strikes yet again in Bangladesh. This comes just after the Gulshan attacks, where 6 militants took hostages and opened fire on the Hole Artisan Bakery, which is of course also another affluent area. It's a diplomatic area. It's in the capital city of Bangladesh, and that of course was a very tragic and horrific incident that shook the country, in which more than 20 people also tragically lost their lives. And now, on Eid today, when people had gathered to pray, when they had gathered to celebrate this festival, we are getting to hear this tragic explosion that took place. We still do not have, the official number on the extent of casualties or injuries. The only confirmed report that we have so far is that one policeman has lost his life. Welcome back. We are going to get you the very latest update and information about that bomb explosion that has taken place in Bangladesh. One attacker and one policeman have been killed. 12 people have been injured in this explosion that took place just near the entrance of Bangladesh's largest Eid congregation. It's reported to have taken place at a place called Kishoreganj district, which is about 80 kilometers from Dhaka. Now, initial reports are suggesting that it was a Molotov cocktail.
Eid congregation in Bangladesh takes place every year. And there were about 3 or 4 attackers. They came and they threw Molotov cocktails and handmade bombs. So this is not ISIS, okay? I've been arguing since very long, even during the Dhaka attack, that this ISIS this is typical Jamaat-e-Islami or Jamaatul Mujahideen, local homegrown militants. Now they threw bombs and Molotov cocktails at the police post, which was guarding this whole area.
I was just speaking to a journalist from Bangladesh, Mr. Bhaumik, who said that it was a very large Eid congregation, but still no information about the other attackers. But he clearly said that indications, are that the Jamaat-ul-Mujahideen Bangladesh could be behind this explosion.
He's right when he says that, because if indeed these are Molotov cocktails, now that has been a signature pattern of Jamaat, in fact Islamists, over the last few months and years, where Molotov cocktails have been hurled.
Near the Azimuddin school, there's a big gate from Azimuddin school which leads to this ground, and it's near this gate that the police detached.
All right, Mr. Bhaumik, can you hear me? Okay, we seem to have lost the connection there, but we'll get back to Mr. Shubir Bhaumik. But we have with us India Today's Smita Sharma, who also joins us. In fact, Smita even covered the Dhaka hostage siege, the Gulshan attack. Smita, now I would bomb that was hurled at the crowd. Attackers are believed to be hiding inside a house, which the police have already surrounded. But we'll get in more details from a journalist who's joining us from Bangladesh, Mr. Shubir Bhaumik. Mr. Bhaumik, thanks so much for speaking to us on India Today. A very unfortunate bit of news coming in. Terror striking once again Bangladesh. Can you just give us the very latest updates that you have?
Yes, this attack took place at the Sholakia grounds at Kishoreganj, which is where the big